Aloha, friends, and welcome back to 13 Nights of Tiki Frights. I am your host, Gabe, from the Search for Tiki. Thanks for joining us through the entire month of October as we interview, over a dozen artists and do lots of mug giveaways like this one right here. This is Poisoned Bob from Lost Temple Traders, guys. LostTempleTraders.com. You can purchase mugs. This one's sold out, but we're going to be giving away Poisoned Bob at the end of this video. Make sure you give them some love and stick around to the end to see if you're the winner of Poisoned Bob. As always, we are sponsored by Plantation Rum. We couldn't do 13 Nights of Tiki Frights without Plantation Rum. They sponsor the mug giveaways. They do the cocktails. So huge thank you to Plantation Rum. We do have daily cocktail recipes for mixing up tiki. If you haven't checked them out, they're on our Instagram and they're on 13nightsoftikifrights.com as well. We're also sponsored by Tiki Farm. Tiki Farm is the world's largest manufacturer of high-end cocktail mugs. And Holden Westland, the owner, was on our show earlier this month. We got to talk to him about some of the most iconic, classic Tiki Farm mugs. Not just Tiki Farm mugs, but mugs, in the Tiki community over decades. They're some of the most popular ones. So check out that video. And then, of course, we are sponsored by Dawn the Beachcomber. Dawn the Beachcomber is coming back in a big way. They have announced multiple locations opening in a phased way over the next couple of years. Marie King was one of our guests earlier this month as well, and we got to talk about what the new Dawn the Beachcomber is going to look like, and it's exciting. They have a panel of people they're collaborating with that are, top shelf people, and so, we're excited for Dawn the Beachcomber. Check out that video with Marie King. The other way that we're funding 13 Nights of Tiki Frights and the Search for Tiki in general is through our mug sales. This is Catable. It just came out a couple days ago. And guys, it is already on low inventory alert. So if you like our channel, if you want to support what we do, or if you just want a really cool cat versus tiki mug, check it out at thesearchfortiki.com and pick up your mug before it is too late. I do want to talk to Kat. Kat Reeder is our guest tonight. In addition to many other things, she also did the cover for this issue of Exotica Modern. But before I do that, I do want to announce, I was supposed to put these up earlier this month, and I didn't. But these are mugs that were donated by Gecko from his private tiki mug collection, specifically to raise money for disaster relief in Maui. If you don't know, I think everybody knows at this point, but Lahaina was devastated by wildfires. And although it's left the news cycle, it's still very much an issue for people in Hawaii. So look on the website tomorrow. I'm not going to announce when it is. They're just going to pop up on the site. Then maybe I'll do an Instagram post. But I've got at least 4 of these mugs going up from Gecko's private collection. And you can see they are signed on the bottom from Gecko. Mahalo for helping Maui. And with that said, guys, I'm super excited to talk to Kat, who is a Hawaii-based artist. And I think we should get her in here. Hey, Kat.
Aloha.
Welcome. It's so good to see you.
You too. That was such an exciting intro.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Thank you.
One of the best ones I've seen. That was so fun.
I appreciate that. It's a pleasure to have you. I was so excited. I had to go and rip some art off of my wall. And you got it behind you, too. But
Yay.
I got my Tiki and Waikiki poster, and I had it framed. And it has
that was awesome.
A prominent location on my wall.
Thanks. That's so cool.
Experienced a little bit of Tiki and Waikiki this year. So it's a nice memento.
Very cool.
For those watching that don't know, I want to kind of start in the beginning and get to know you a little bit and your backstory. And then we can talk about some of the crazy, cool things that you've been working on over the past few years and what you've got coming up. But with that said, your father left Peru and immigrated to the United States, I think in the late or mid 80s. And then he landed in Miami, and you followed suit kind of after that. Given that you were probably a kid around that time, do you have strong memories of Peru? Do you remember
Yes.
what it was like?
Yeah, I was 8 or 9, but I've always had really photographic memory. So I remember everything, especially around the time that he left. He actually left and ended up in LA thinking that was Miami. he thought Miami and LA were like the same. Anyway, he eventually made it to Miami. But yeah, I remember everything around that time because it was a very traumatic time in Peru. So it was, there's a lot going on there. So, and just who didn't want to come to the States? I mean, to me, it still is like the best place to be in the world. So it's like, yeah, I remember everything about life there, about the time where he left, thinking we wouldn't see him again, and just dreaming that we would be able to come here because it was not easy to get visas or anything. It wasn't easy at that time to travel here. So
did you have like a big send off, or was it kind of like
yes, it was one of those. It is. It was one of those. I always think of it as a movie, like the big send off with the entire family and everybody in my neighborhood who owned anything that was U.S. themed, like a towel. They
okay.
This lady handed me this towel that was the American flag. And he's like, "Here, you might need this." And it definitely was a send off because first of all, we didn't think we'd be able to leave Peru. And we were little kids. It was me and my brother and sister. So yeah, it was definitely like the whole neighborhood came and, took us to the airport and it was a beautiful morning, that morning we left. They were just happy we were going to be reunited with my dad, who we didn't think would even survive coming here, let alone bring us to where he was,
Yep. In this photo, we have another Peruvian icon, of course.
Yes, Lima, yes.
Peruvians gotta stick together.
I gotta try. This was actually at the Hukilau event when I was a vendor that year. Actually, no, that was a year after. But anyway, I saw it. I was like, I must do a cover with Ima someday. And then I did. Like, I ended up doing a cover, but I was like, oh, she doesn't get enough love. I feel in the Latin community, like we don't talk enough about her and her contributions. So,
yep.
I'm always trying to give her some love, especially fellow Peruvian.
Such an icon in music and exotica, and not just exotica, but all kinds of genres.
It is, yeah. And we, growing up, like we don't hear enough about her and her contributions. So I feel like we really need to educate ourselves and about all of these Peruvian. In essence, she was Peruvian-American in a way, because she made her career here, and I just have a lot of love for that because we don't hear enough of each other, like Peruvians that have made names for themselves. So I'm always trying to support.
Lift your friends up.
Exactly.
Is there so obviously you're an artist. Is there a history of art in your family?
Not in a professional sense. I think my father's side is the artistic side. My family was always drawing. My dad was always drawing, and he still creates mosaics. He's still in the arts, does his thing, but not professionally. This was kind of like I always feel a little bit like a freak accident that I went into it professionally. Although my brother and sister are excellent artists, just on their own right, just on a personal level, but I'm the only one in the family that actually pursued it. I mean, nobody in my family really thought that this would be a career. That's not something we grew up with, having an artistic career. So definitely, I'm the only one that's, I'm trying to now encourage people in my family who are artists, like artistic, like please, there's room for all.
Do it. You can do it.
Do it. Yeah.
Yeah, there's plenty of room.
Yes.
And people need it. People always need, art and entertainment and escapism. That's one of the reasons we love, tiki culture in general, is because the world needs an escape sometimes, and your art can do that for people. So that's an incredible gift.
Thank you so much.
When did you begin to draw, and did you teach yourself?
Yes, I taught myself. Drawing, definitely. I have a graphic design background, and that I went to school for. But all the drawing I taught myself, and all artists are always drawing. It's like all we know how to do. But when my father left for the United States, I started drawing because I thought that he could get it to Disney somehow because I was 8, and I thought, oh, you can take this to Disney. So I started in my letters. I would draw cartoon characters and stuff. And then
when you say Disney, do you mean like Disney or you mean Walt?
Yeah, Disney. I don't know why I thought,
You're just gonna walk up to Walt.
Disney. Just hand them these and tell them I really want to do this, right? So I would draw in my letters. I would make these little characters, or I would just draw Mickey and stuff, and they would make everybody happy. Like I remember in Peru, like my family would look at it and go, "Oh, how cute! That's so cute." It would make my dad happy, and I thought, "Oh, people get happy whenever you create something." I was having a reaction from people, and then when we came here, we finally made it here. I didn't speak English at first, obviously, and drawing was really my only way to communicate with the other kids. So I would draw and give them things, and I would notice, like, as you're giving them art, you would get this response that didn't require any language, right? It was just happy response, and I just became the kid that could draw. So it came from that immediate feedback, of happiness from other people. And then just in school, kids started asking me, "Can you draw a picture of my girlfriend or of this and that?" And then it just kind of developed, kind of grew on its own. But I just didn't know how to do anything else. It was my only way to truly communicate with people at first.
I love that. I've noticed in my own life. So I've found an interest in photography in the past couple of years, and I've started taking photos. And I've noticed that when you take a good photo of someone and like you post it on Facebook and they take it and like make it their profile picture,
Yes.
hey, that's like the biggest compliment in the world, right? That they like it enough to make it their profile picture, but also they become your best friend because you made them look good.
Yeah.
And you do that a lot with you do these portraitures of like families and stuff. That's got to make people feel really good.
That's the best. I think that it wasn't something I intended to do from the beginning. I really just wanted to create these illustration of girls and aloha stuff, Hawaiian stuff. The portrait just was an accident, but it made me feel that same way. Like when people would receive the artwork, they would feel something like, I want this on my wall. And just as an artist, like, what better compliment is there? Someone wants to have a piece of your art on their wall forever and ever and pass it down to their kids. And it's just, it just came from people saying, "Thank you for making me feel beautiful." And it was like a high for me. Like, I love that. I want to make women feel beautiful. And then it just, again, it developed on its own from there. But it really was, like you said, from feeling that I made someone feel good about themselves. I help someone see this side of themselves as beautiful, and it feeds me. I love that. I love that feeling.
Yep. Especially, when in today's world where self-confidence is, at an incredible low due to Instagram and social media. And I love Instagram. It's a love-hate relationship, but it's nice when you're reminded of, this is the person that I want to be, that people see me as, that I don't necessarily see myself as. These are some of the portraits.
Yeah, actually, the one you just showed before this one was a memorial one. Like, I actually end up getting a lot of portraits for people who have passed on, and families want to remember them a certain way. When they were younger, when they were healthy, when they were at their prime, and just to be able to create images of someone that's no longer with us is just, and then have those people just be so happy that I was able to capture their essence when you haven't met the person. That's really, for an artist, it's really special.
Yeah. What is your process when you're doing these portraits of people? People reach out, they want to commission a portrait, or whether that's a family or an individual person. What's the process? Can you walk us through it?
Yes, I just have them. I send them a questionnaire where I just, first they say if they're interested. I send them a questionnaire. I just kind of get to know their style, anything from your fashion, from your alter ego. Like, a lot of times I'm like, who's your alter ego? Who do you want to be? How do you see yourself?
I like that.
And that's, I have a line that I started a few months ago, just boudoir. So I kind of pushed it a little bit more and thought, okay, well, let's get like the sexy ones. So I have this, offshoot. Yeah. And I kind of ask them about themselves and how they see themselves. A lot of times they're celebrating milestones in their life too, whether it's a graduating or fitness or something, and I ask them, what is it exactly that you want to capture? And then I have them send me pictures, just because I don't get to sit with the people. That's not something I'm able to do because I'm in Hawaii and most of my clients are everywhere else.
Right. Yep.
Just have them send me pictures on front, side, everything. Just send me all the pictures you have, and I just put something together based on what they tell me. And then we just kind of work together. It starts as a sketch, they approve the sketch, and then we just kind of, every phase gets approved and worked on together.
What's the, this is one of those tough questions that artists sometimes, hey, what's the time frame that people can expect on, collaborating with you on a portrait?
Yeah. Well, for me, my turnaround time is like 1 to 2 weeks. It's usually the framing and all the other stuff, like the shipping, because I have to ship everything. Like what happens is I get everything framed and stretched. It comes to me, I inspect it, I sign it, and then I ship it. So that's usually the part that I can never really, I don't always have a clear deadline for that, because sometimes for, if they're busy, it might push it a week or whatever. Usually I'm done in about 2 weeks, sometimes 3 if there's a lot of feedback back and forth.
That's pretty incredible.
Yeah,
that is a fast timeline for an artist.
I feel like I've done so many that I kind of know, okay, I know this is what they're going to want. I know based on what they tell me, I kind of already know this is where they're going. Yep. Most of the time I'll ask them to reference a piece of mine that they like. And then that also just gives me an idea where they want to go. So yeah, I've gotten it down, quicker. But like I said, it's not always as quick because there are other factors that contribute.
Yeah, for sure. It's like they say with art, when you're buying a piece of art, you're not just buying the piece of art, you're buying all the time and years of experience that happened before that piece of art that made it possible.
Yes, that is true. That is very true. It's like sometimes I'm like, wow, I made this a little fast, and I think, well, yeah, but there's a lot of, pain and tears to get to the point where I can get it to be this fast. I totally get that.
Someone, I don't know how long it takes Crazy Al, but Crazy Al, could carve a tiki in X amount of hours, and then someone be like, I can carve a tiki just like that. And he's like, okay, well. Really? Like, how long is it going to take you to learn how to carve the tiki before you can actually do it?
True.
We talked about, your background in Peru, and then you came to Miami. Did your time in Miami influence your art today?
100%, because I went from a very dry, cold climate immediately to the middle of summer tropical climate in Peru. And not just tropical climate, but tropical cultural climate. Surrounded by a lot of Caribbean people and just people from all over the world who are exposing me to other cultures. So for me, music is actually a big base. It's the foundation for my work, music. So definitely being around Caribbean women, other South American women, just people who were just not afraid to live out loud, and people who were just not afraid to express themselves. And Miami's a very artistic city. It's at least it used to be very experimental. Sorry, my English is. People experiment a lot with style there, and my dad also, because he was in flooring, he got to work with a lot of celebrities and galleries and people that were in the arts, and I got to be exposed a little bit to art in homes that were really high end, and there was just a lot more influence for me there. And also when you're a child and you go from a dry, cold climate to this sunny, everything is just multicolored, and it stays in your brain, right? I just wanted to draw because everything was so colorful and beautiful. And at the time, Miami still had remnants of that mid-century tiki culture. There were still some places left that were still, those little motels with a Jamaican, a tiki or a Jamaican motif or whatever. It still had that. So I really think that's where like the early tiki stuff got in my brain, is from
just seeing that kind of stuff. Do you remember the the first time you were like, how do I say it? Self-aware about tiki? Like, oh, this is tiki and this is cool.
Yeah, well, I knew that I liked whatever that was. Like the building where we lived in, when we first moved in, the apartment building had a very tiki motif and style. You can tell now that I look back that it had been one of those like tiki-esque apartment buildings, like the ones you see in California, those like little
Yep.
apartments. And then just in the 80s, it was all run down. It was just not that at all, but there was still remnants of that. So I remember they had these lava rock walls, and it would just speak to me like there's something about this. So I knew that there was something about tiki that always spoke to me. And it wasn't actually till college that I found out what the name was for the entire community and movement.
Yep.
and style. I didn't even know what it was. And when I found out, like, yeah, it's called tiki. And I saw that architecture, and I was just, this is where I belong. I love this.
It's funny. I was I guess I was the kind of the same way, because like I always, like, I knew the word tiki, but I had never put together. I was, as a kid, I loved Indiana Jones and Pirates of the Caribbean, and as I got older, rum cocktails and all this stuff. And it wasn't until I went to Trader Sam's Enchanted Tiki Bar, actually, in Disneyland, I was like, wait, there are other people that are into this. And then you go online, and suddenly, there's this whole world that people have been celebrating this for years, and I just wasn't aware of it.
Yeah, and the thing with tiki is that it hits you in your heart. You don't even know. As a child, you have no awareness, right, of the cultural stuff, the historical stuff. You don't know anything, but there's something about it that just speaks to you. So I feel like that need for escapism, for exotic, is that all of that stuff is just innate in us, because children can see it and they feel something. So I feel like that's what's so special about tiki, is that you can't deny that it speaks to your soul in some way. Because we all want to be, on an island somewhere. Ultimately, it doesn't matter where you're from. If you're on an island, I'm on an island, you still want to be on an island somewhere else. That's just how it is.
The proof is in my bank account. From the time I went to Trader Sam's, all the transactions on Tiki mugs, the fruits in the pudding right there.
I get you. Yeah.
Okay, so you were in Peru, then you went to Miami. Now you're in Hawaii. You've been in Hawaii for a while. Yeah. How did you get, when did you first go to Hawaii? How did you get the crazy idea to move out there? I say crazy. It's something everybody wants to do, but not everyone does.
No, it was crazy, because most people that move to Hawaii, they're military or already have family here. We didn't fit, or had a job offer. We didn't fit any of those things. We actually came here on vacation because I always wanted to come. So I came with my husband's family at the time. They invited me. We had a family vacation. I got engaged here. And then we're driving around, and I think we're Honolulu. We're driving around. I'm thinking, and I say out loud, I could live here, right? And then something sparked in my husband's little young brain, hey, we should do this. And we were young enough, and we just got it into our heads, yeah, let's do it. So we finished college, and just try to save as much money, try to get our family to support, all of that stuff. And then eventually we came, but we just were let's just do it. We didn't have a child at the time. We were young and stupid, and we said, no better time to do it than when you're young and stupid. And if it all goes to hell, you can go back to Florida,
Yep.
And we did, and we just decided no matter what, we're going to come here, and we're blank slates. We know no one. We're just going to start a whole new life, and that's just what we did. But it was crazy. When I think about it, I'm like, how did my parents not let you come in? Because I was so far away, and you're so isolated, and expensive. It was expensive.
Yeah, it is. I think that's the number one obstacle. But what were some of the challenges you faced moving to Hawaii?
Well, the isolation, of course. I didn't realize how far. It's far, but when you see it on a map and it's a spot. I remember one night I was looking online, and I saw a map. It was closer to the holidays, and that's usually where, for me, I would get nostalgic. And I was looking at the map, and I realized, oh my God, we are nothing. Like we're just this little speck in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah.
And I realized we can't go home. We can't afford to go home. We can't fly anywhere. And I just got really, really sad. Like, oh, this is it. Like our families are on the other side of this big, vast ocean. And I got scared, like, I mean, we weren't going to leave, but it was, one of those moments we realized, yeah, you're away from everything happening out there. The challenges are related to that, the costs, cost of buying things, of importing things. For us, this hasn't been the case, but I know with other friends that I have, sometimes, uh, if they don't go out of their way to learn the culture or to assimilate, they get pushed back. It doesn't happen a lot. It just kind of depends on who the people are. But, there are folks who don't necessarily assimilate right away or partake in the local culture. And, they find that people are like, hey, you need to learn the local culture, But definitely it was the isolation at first and the cost of living. The cost of living, of course, still a challenge for everyone here.
I think this is getting worse as time goes on. But yeah, they do kind of hide it because, like, if you're looking at a map of the United States, they don't show the ocean because it would be half the map. They just kind of cut it off, put Hawaii right next to California,
Yes.
So
or
when
until
you actually pull up like Google Maps, you're like, holy cow, that's 2,500 miles away.
it's really far, yeah. And then when there's stuff happening on the mainland, you're like, we're far away. Everything happens there. All the important stuff is happening there first, and you're just going to hear about it after it's all done. And you're probably not going to get all of it because it's going to be edited, or it's going to be, by the time it gets to you, it's not real time anymore. So that's a little bit of a challenge sometimes.
Yeah. You talked about the customs of Hawaii. Personally, for me, when I go there, I'm like super excited to learn all that stuff. You had done, is it Pono? Pono?
Yes. Oh, the pledge.
Pono pledge. Oh, here we have the there you go. There's a map of the United States. See, Hawaii is just below
right
Texas.
Mexico.
Yep. So you did the is it Pono? Am I pronouncing it right?
Yeah, the Pono pledge. Mm-hmm.
Pono pledge. So, and that's like, would you describe it as like a promise?
Yeah. So the Pono pledge is something that actually was started by an organization here, and I thought, well, let me create something that people can download free and just put it out there, because we're all as artists trying to always send that message, like to share the message of being good citizens here. One thing with the Aloha spirit is that it really is something that we take very seriously, as far as, if you're going to live here, you really need to honor those ideals of Aloha and neighborhood, being a good neighbor and being a good friend and being just a good person. So I felt that, there are a lot of tourists that were misbehaving and not really, getting themselves into trouble, like getting their bodies in trouble and getting themselves in situations they shouldn't get it themselves in. But, they were disrespecting the land, and I thought, well, let's put this out there. I mean, I didn't write this, I didn't do that, but the artwork, I said, let's get it out there so people can just have a good way to see this. It's in front of them, they can share it, and really it's just a way to really honor where I live, and that's kind of where that came from.
I love it, and obviously with your art on there, people are way more apt to take notice of something like that and appreciate it, than just a white depressing page of stuff. I do want to talk a bit about some of the commercial projects that you've done.
Sure.
You've worked with some pretty crazy cool clients. You created a poster, was it 2009, for the Vans Women's Triple Crown of Surfing.
That was the year that we moved to Hawaii, so it was like first thing.
That happened your first year?
Oh yeah, it was like it happened right away, so it kind of spoiled me a little bit.
How?
Well, because again, in the spirit of we're starting over, nobody knows us, whatever. We're just gonna do it. Whatever we didn't have the guts to do before, we're gonna do now. So I started approaching galleries with my work, just to see if anybody would care, because there was at the time there was a big art scene here. I mean, there still is, but there used to be this thing called First Fridays, where in Chinatown, and all the galleries would open up and people go.
Okay.
And, you know,
this is in Honolulu.
Yeah, in Honolulu, in Chinatown. So I went to that, and there's all these like little galleries, and they're not your typical Hawaiian galleries. They were showing more pop art, more lowbrow art, tiki art. So I just approached this one gallery and I said, hey, this is what I do. What do you think? And she, the owner said, this is kind of cool, whatever. Let's put it up on the wall, see what happens. You're new. I'm down to help out and support. And I was like, thank you. So she put up some small prints on her wall, and I guess that week, the wife of one of the organizers for the event happened to stop by and saw it. And by the way, excuse all the sirens. I'm in the middle of the city.
Are you under arrest, Kat?
For real.
Your art is too good.
It's so annoying. Yeah, I'm like literally in the middle of the city, so you're gonna hear some real city sounds here. So anyway, so this person saw my art and said, hey, this is kind of cool, kind of different. We have this women's event coming. And, luckily she had a vision of supporting local artists and artists who were a little bit different. This art at the time was different from what they were seeing here. So they just approached me and said, hey, would you be interested in this? And I didn't really know I didn't know the first thing about surfing or the surfing community. And I said, yeah, okay, of course, that sounds cool. And not knowing what a huge event this was. And actually that year we had our Peruvian surfing champ participating. So it was like an even bigger deal once I found out, this is a big deal in this community and this lifestyle. Oh my God. And then to see my art on the walls and on t-shirts, and I think it was even on the prize, I think, but it was like, I love this. I want to do this for the rest of my life. I want to work with corporate clients. I want to, represent Hawaii, even though I'm new here. Like, what an opportunity. And I fell in love with corporate design. And
were you a full-time artist at that point, or did that come later?
I was working as a graphic designer, as an in-house illustrator at a place here. And after that happened, I quit my job, and luckily they supported me. And they said, yeah, go do it. Yeah, and
you're too good for us.
No, and I think after a while, I mean, they could tell that I was a little antsy, and I wanted more. I didn't want to just sit in front of of course I sit in front of a computer all day now, but I'm saying I didn't want to just sit in like a corporate office in front of a computer forever. And they could see that, and they supported me and said, yeah, go do it. And luckily it went well. So, but it was just a total chance that I took. If I hadn't gone up to this gallery, like, hey, please put my art up, and it was just
a sequence of events.
Yes.
Aligned, dominoes. Yes. You knocked them over at just the right time. That's awesome. Have you ever surfed since then?
I do not surf. I feel like I have no business being on a surfboard. I will draw you and make it look wonderful, but I'm too short. I'm too stocky. I'm too clumsy to be on a surfboard.
Okay. I hear you. I've never surfed. I love watching it. It's amazing.
Yes, it is.
It's fascinating, but me and surfboards, I don't know.
It looks hard. It looks really difficult. I feel like if you fall and break your face, and then there's sharks in the water, I don't need to be dealing with all that stuff.
So drawing it, don't do it.
I will. Yeah, exactly.
All right. I love how, and this is kind of a segue into another client job, but I'm excited to see hand-drawn posters making a comeback in Hollywood.
Yes.
Given that, did you collect movie posters like as a kid? Now?
Mentally, I did. I couldn't collect posters or buy them, but yeah, in my mind, if I saw something, it was burned in my brain. And I feel a little bit that back in the day, because we didn't have access to everything, social media and Pinterest and everything, if you saw something and it moved you, you had to remember it. Like, you had to sear it in your brain, because you were probably not going to see it again. So I have a collection of stuff like that in my brain. And so, yeah, definitely a lot of Mexican movie posters, a lot of the old school the golden age of movies in Mexico. They had amazing artwork that doesn't get enough attention. They have some really cool designs, and then of course all the American stuff, just still to this day beautiful. And
Drew Struzan. Drew Struzan's my
yes,
my movie poster idol.
yeah, me too. That's the god right there. That's everyone's trying to be like Drew, but there'll never be another Drew. You know what I mean?
No, one in a million. With that said, you got to design one that's pretty damn cool for a Paul Thomas Anderson movie, Licorice
Yes.
Pizza, and we'll pull that up here. But how did that one come about? That must have been like another dream.
It was really cool. That actually it was Instagram. They just approached me on Instagram and they said, "Would you be interested in working in a movie?" They didn't tell me what the movie was, or like in the beginning, it was very much like we can't really say who's in anything about the movie. Are you just interested in working on a movie project? And I said yes, thinking too, this is probably not legit, you know.
I was gonna. Was it like a weird account name, or was it like?
Well, no, but it wasn't. I mean, it wasn't like Warner Brothers or anything like that. It's just that I was like, oh, this is too good to be true, Like
Yeah.
I'm going to say yes because I'm always going to say yes. But it was that kind of thing where they asked, "Will you be interested?" I said yes, and then we didn't have any communication for weeks after that. And then I thought, oh yeah, this probably wasn't a real thing. But then we communicated, and it's like, oh yeah, it's just we're interested. It's just that there's not a lot of information about the movie at first. I mean, it was
Hush, hush.
all from the wraps, yeah, from the very beginning. So I had to work with not a whole lot of information in the beginning. I didn't really know who was in the movie, who starred in the movie at first, or anything. So it was we were kind of working in the blind in the very very beginning. But I definitely say yes. Whatever this is, absolutely yes. I want to do it.
I don't know what it is. I don't know what I'm agreeing to, but yes.
Yeah. That's my purse that I made. That oh my god, that I made that purse by hand. Like I printed it and stuck it on there, and I put a bunch of rhinestones on it, and just to make sure everybody knew I'm the artist. When am I going to have this opportunity again? So, oh, that was amazing. That was such a beautiful night.
And then you got picked up by the Los Angeles Times, wrote an article about you, and you were on benches. That's got to be cool, just like walking around and seeing your art, in the city.
Yes, especially in LA, and with my dad's history and having landed there, and just seeing my art on everything. Like, well, I wish that my dad could have seen that. He's still around, but I mean, at the time, because he was always a dreamer. He was always really brave. Like he would just do whatever he wanted. Like he was just always just a brave person. And I thought if he could see back in '86, someday my daughter's art is going to be up on these billboards.
That'd be so crazy, wouldn't it?
It made me happy for my family more than anything. It made me happy for them because it was a way to say, hey, like not like, oh, we made it, but basically in a way, like we as a family, like we're making
totally
this
did
happen.
make it.
Yeah. And it was a beautiful. I still can't believe, that there was a write up about it because it was just the whole thing was just a complete whirlwind. It was so magical, and I'm addicted. I want to do it again so bad. I just
do it again. You want to do another movie?
I want to work. Seriously, I want to be in like movie or TV advertising, like image making. It really sparked this desire for me to work in Hollywood somehow.
What would be your dream? Like whether it's a Hollywood actor or actress or a franchise, like what would be your dream collab to work on?
Yeah. Well, the last one that I really wanted to work on was Barbie, and that for obvious reasons because Barbie, I have a deep connection with Barbie just as a brand and all of that. I love it so much. But aside from that, I really would like to work with the. Oh, there you go. You have it. Cool. I really want to do some superhero movies. Like I would love to do Wonder Woman, of course, Wonder Woman, and Supergirl. I actually I've been doing some stuff for myself. Been trying to push myself to think more in theatrical. Trying to keep that going. Try to stay fresh with coming up with key art concepts and stuff. So, I really would love to do a superhero movie.
I'd be
But
down for like a Captain Marvel.
yeah,
Brie
something,
Larson, that would be cool.
I would love to do something like that, like bring my flavor to it. But really music. I actually really love to do some albums, like music covers. Like for me, music is also another area I would love to explore.
It's also kind of like a lost art in some ways. I mean, movie posters to a lesser extent, but vinyl, I mean, vinyl's coming back in a big way. And I think part of it is just the big, bold art,
Yeah.
that's on those vinyl discs. And it's so cool. You go into a shop and look through all the, particularly the foreign records, the Mexican records, the art that people came up with that's so beautiful. And it's just like, it's gone. You can only
Yes.
get it if you buy these vinyl records.
Yes. But I feel like it's coming, the music thing is coming back a little bit when you look at YouTube and just all the thumbnails. Like I feel like the importance of art. I still pick music based on the artwork. So, if it's cool, I'm going to listen to it. So I feel like I think that's going to come back in a big way.
For sure. What did you think of Barbie? Did you see it?
Or yeah, I saw it. Actually, very very early on, I got to pitch some ideas to them. So I kept a close eye. So when I saw it, it was like I actually walked away in tears, which I was so surprised about because I thought it was supposed to be a fun movie because I knew essentially like I knew
Yep.
mostly what the movie was going to be about. But then when I walked away and I realized it really hit home, that part where Barbie's talking to Ruth, her creator, and asking about her role,
Yeah.
as an entity and wanting to be alive. I don't know, there was something about it that connected with me because I create girls. And to me, in my crazy head, they're alive. Like to me, they're real, right? In a sense. So to think that the art you create may want to be alive or may have a soul, like really spoke to me on a personal level. So I was like in tears about that part. And thinking, I was also working on the makeup stuff that, this project that I have coming up and coming up with these characters that I want to be alive. And it just really hit me.
Yeah. So this is one of the things that I was wondering about when you're doing all the art that you create. Do you create backstories for all of these people?
Yeah, and a lot of times in the very beginning, it started with if Aloha was a person, if she was a person, what would she look like? So it really started with trying to personify the feeling of aloha, the feeling of happiness and escapism. And that's really where these women came from. And then later it just kind of became about self-possessed, just confidence, right? So in this one, for instance, that one you just showed, I did the sultry and sweet. There's always like the sultry and sweet thing. Like they're either sultry or sweet. Like I'm always exploring those two sides of that everyone has. Like you're either going to be sweet and lovely, or you're going to be like fierce and mysterious. So I'm always exploring those two things. And for me, it's just sheer joy and happiness. What does it feel like to just be free on an island? Or to just be beautiful. Like, when I was a little girl, I didn't particularly feel beautiful. And I thought, what's it like to just be naturally beautiful? Like, what is that like? And I think that it came from wanting to create these characters that are just blessed with natural beauty.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if anybody feels like that 100% of the time.
Yeah.
You'd hope they do, but sometimes it takes art like this to show people.
Yeah. Well, I'm just trying to just make myself feel something too. It's like sometimes you just create because you want to feel something. And, you don't always do it for everybody else. But when people connect to it, oh my God, as an artist, that's beautiful.
I love all the colors in that one.
Yeah, this
so
is
many colors.
Yeah, I was kind of going through this like 60s mod thing when I did this.
So rad. I also like if someone said to me, draw aloha, like that seems like such a difficult task. And yet you look at any of these pictures and you're like, yeah, that is aloha. So I mean, hats off to you, Kat.
Thank you. Here's my jungle queen. It's like I've been on a jungle like Amazon woman kick lately, just kind of exploring more, not necessarily Polynesian, but going more into just the tropics, just as a feeling. And I've been exploring a little bit more of that South American vibe, and that's what I've been doing lately.
Are any of your characters reoccurring?
Not really. They're essences. Like I said, it's either sultry or we have sweet. Like there's this. You either have this sort of Latin essence, which is that she's just tough and she's just sexy and seductive, or you have this like lovely, just joyful, beautiful, just girl next door type thing.
Mm-hmm. We saw a little sneak peek of a picture I wanted to talk to you about at the end there. You did licorice pizza, but then you also did something really weird. That's super, super cool. I totally nerded out when I saw it. You designed a pinball machine. Is that the strangest thing that you've ever designed?
Yes, it was the most intimidating thing I've ever designed. Because when they gave me the schematics for this, like I had no idea what I was looking at. I couldn't make out anything, and they were like, design something for this, and I didn't know where it was going to be used or, what it was going to be for. So it was very intimidating. It was a lot of different pieces, but the creative team really walked me through the entire process. I mean, I can't thank them enough. That the team that worked with me, that hired me, actually was amazing. I still have so much love for them, because it was intimidating when you haven't done something at this scale and you don't know where it's going to end up. And then at the event, actually, when I went to the premiere, I actually got to see them. I got to see people playing with it, and that was so cool.
Did you play with it?
I did, yeah, of course. I had to. But when I saw some of the actors, the people that were in the movie engaging with it, I was like, oh my God, this is just so nuts. Like I have these people whose faces I've had to stare at for a year. Now they're here engaging.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even think of that, but that's got to be weird.
That was so freaky, to see these people in live. And I was like, I know your face so well. And not to sound like a total, stalker freak. But I'm like, I know your face so well, So that was such a cool experience.
Something you also did, you worked with a bunch of like local places in Hawaii. Kualoa Ranch comes to mind. Fairmont comes to mind. I was in Hawaii a few weeks ago, and I was at the Dole Plantation, and they had your art in the gift shop behind the register. I think I also saw it at the Polynesian Cultural Center in one of the stores there. So you're all over the place in Oahu. How did you, for people that might want to, pursue a similar path or kind of learn from what you've done, how did you form all these relationships with local Hawaiian businesses?
Yeah. Well, here in Hawaii, luckily, you can knock on some doors. It's not like in other places. It's who you know and are you connected. It's not that way here. Here, people still appreciate someone pounding the pavement and going in person. And that's just what I did. Like one afternoon, I told my son, hey, it's time for you to learn the business. He's only 9. And I said, let's go, let's grab some prints, and we're going to drive out, just a family, we just drove out to the North Shore, and we said, we made a list of places we're going to hit. And we're just going to ask for whoever's in charge. And we're going to say, this is what I do, and this is what I want to do. And can I please display my art here? Do you have room for any more art? And that's just kind of what I did. I just went and talked to people in person. And then, luckily, some of these managers or buyers had either heard of me before or didn't know how to reach me or something, or hadn't heard of me and said, yeah, this is cool. Let's put it up on the wall. That's usually what happens.
Let's see what happens. What's the worst that can happen?
I'm like, okay, how do we do? Do we, can we move forward? So it's just a lot of me reaching, like, who is the person in charge here? And then I just go right up to them and I talk to them, try to sell.
I love the you're hitting it from both sides. The old school, cold calling techniques, and then the social media landed you.
Yes.
Your movie poster. Do you know what the split is on the prints that you sell? Is it mostly from your online?
I think right now
or your in person.
Yeah, I think right now it's mostly online. It's funny because when I have in-person events, there'll be a big uptick in sales, obviously because you're in person and people connect, and I love doing that. So usually, if you do an event, you're going to walk away with money. But then it's like the online is more of a slow burn. I wish sometimes there are months where there's a hike. But it is the thing with the online thing is that you really have to be active promoting yourself.
Oh
yeah. And it can be exhausting, as it's just exhausting. You have to have a natural talent for it, and if you're not actively marketing yourself, your sales go, no matter how good you are. And that's unfortunately the nature of just making a living in art and with social media. It's like, no matter how good you are, if you're not out there, like they say, providing something for someone or instructing someone or engaging in some way, you're not going to get a lot of sales. And that can be frustrating.
That's got to be one of the tough things of being an artist, not just doing graphic design. If you're in Hollywood or anything like this, it's like this need to constantly prove relevance.
Yes.
And it's exhausting. I think they actually talk about that in Barbie a little bit.
Yeah, it is. It's exhausting, and it's the younger you are, the better you do it because you're born with this. I feel like young people, they know how to do this in their sleep, but when you're a little bit older, it's just you want to do it old school. Like you want to go in person, you want to do the cold calls, you want to do all of that, and when you realize no, you really have to have a social media presence. There's a lot to learn there, and you really have to have the personality for it and the the charisma for it too. You have to be able to connect. There's so many layers to it. You can't just be an artist. Like there's so many more layers to that in order to.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's a business. At the end of the day, like it's fun to be your own boss and create art and do all this stuff, but so much of it is also not fun.
It's like you have to be talented, but you also have to be your own PR person. You have to be your own hype man. There's just so much that doesn't get talked about when you go into this business.
Okay, so we're approaching 55 minutes. Somehow I always lose track of time in these. I want to talk about some of the tiki stuff you've done. Is it okay if we go over an hour a little bit?
I'm good. I got all the time.
Okay. We talked about, how you got into tiki. I am curious how you came to meet the folks over at Skull and Crown. It's one of my favorite tiki bars in Oahu and beyond Oahu. But how did you guys meet?
Same kind of thing. I went up. I found out who the owner was when they first opened, and I was like, "Hey, I want to work with you. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I'm gonna work with you." And he was like, "All right, just email me sometime." And then I just kind of was just always around. Like I tried to be around and support the business. First of all, I just really was happy about this tiki place opening because it's close to my house, and I mean it's just a cool place, right? So
it's epic. It's totally epic.
Oh my God, I was just so excited about it. So I said to Noah, the owner, I want to do something for you, and eventually we stayed in touch. And then the tiki and actually no, the Skull and Crown, the mermaid poster was first, and I was like, I want to do it, and he was like, all right, let's do it. Really easygoing, and I loved it. And then we just kind of developed a relationship from there, and we've kind of continued a friendship and a working relationship. But it just kind of came from me just approaching them. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, this is insane. I love this. I didn't even know about it until I went, to get questions for this interview and do tonight. And I saw it. And of course, I'm a huge fan of you. I'm a huge fan of Skull and Crown. This poster is ridiculously cool. I think you still have some available on your website.
I do, yeah. Everything I make is always available. It's just kind of like just ask me, and unless it's limited edition, which I haven't really done many limited edition things anymore, because I like art to be accessible to all. So if you see something you like, ask me, and I'll make it available for you.
So there you go, guys. You got to get that Skull and Crown poster. If you've been there, you know that the mermaid behind the bar. So to have this poster, like, this is the perfect memento. And as someone who's obsessed with tiki mugs, right, I only have so much shelf space. And so now I'm at a one mug in, one mug out policy. But I have plenty of wall space.
Yes.
60-foot ceilings, and I'm ready to fill them up.
There you go. See?
Yeah.
I found my niche.
So then you went, so Noah, Skull and Crown, they're also involved with Tiki and Waikiki.
Mm-hmm.
So you did the artwork. I think they've had 2 official years, right? Because there was COVID in there somewhere in the planning process. But this was the first poster that you did for Tiki and Waikiki.
Yes.
So cool. Did Noah give you kind of like instructions, or he was just like,
it was like, do you just make sure there's a tiki in there somewhere, but just whatever. There's Noah's so easygoing, like he's so just like, do your thing, and it's just such a blessing when you have clients just say, do your thing, So I was like, okay, awesome. So I think it was one of the first concepts I sent. He was like, oh, this is great, But
that's it.
It was a do your style, just make sure that we really show like the whole tiki vibe on there. And that was it,
So for people that haven't been to Tiki and Waikiki, how would you describe it? How is it different than the other Tiki events?
Well, I actually have not been. I want to go to Tiki Oasis. I actually have not been to Tiki Oasis. So I don't.
Tiki Oasis is huge.
I know. I mean, I know enough about it from everybody here who's rubbing it in my face all the time. So I'm going to go.
Tell you about Tiki Oasis.
But it's okay. It's okay. I'm going to make my way there. But it's like those events, 4-day party with people that just, it's a smaller concentrated group, obviously. But it's people who really like each other, who really want to hang together, who've known each other for years. Some of these people have known each other for years. And it's just one big family reunion. And you get to learn about some of the local customs. I think that Noah and the organizers have done such a great job of making this as authentic as possible and as culturally enriching to those who attend, as well as locals, and that's what I feel makes it different, is that it really is incorporating true customs and being respectful to the local culture. And he's bringing in local artists, musicians, like really showcasing local talent. And of course, like as it grows, it'll get even more. We'll have even more artists participate, and musicians and whatnot. But I really love that aspect of it, that people, I feel, walk away feeling like they really got to have an immersive experience and really understand in the context of Hawaii, like what's it actually like to live here, to work here, and to party here, So I really appreciated incorporating those kind of local cultural things,
Oh yeah, I mean, there's tons of conversation about cultural appropriation and appreciation. I mean, that's an entirely other thing that we don't necessarily need to get into on here, but there is something to be said for coming to Hawaii, right? Yes. You can go over the weekend, but then you can also stay, put days on in the beginning, put days on the end, go explore the island, see what the island culture is and the tiki culture and how the two mesh, how they don't mesh.
Right. Well, if I can add to that, I think as someone who considers herself local now, having been here a while, what was nice to see on my end is this outside appreciation of just Hawaiian tropical tiki culture. Because I feel sometimes when we live here, even though we're in Hawaii, we got to work, we got to take care of our kids and our families. We get caught up in traffic. We get caught up in the everyday. We lose sight sometimes of what Hawaii and aloha means to other people. So to be around folks that just are so happy to be here, are so happy to participate, are so happy about all of it, you know. There go the sirens again. I'm sorry. Um, it really reignites your own appreciation
Mhm.
for Hawaii, and we need that as artists, as local people. We need sometimes to be reminded of how lucky we are because we forget because we got to work and we got to get real, you know? So I really appreciate having that escape. It's sort of an escape for us to have these tiki folk come in and remind us of how special all of it is.
Oh yeah. This is a weird question, but as someone who lives in Hawaii, right? So normally for us, I live in New England. It's very cold here in the winter. We dream of going to Hawaii. Okay. When you're in Hawaii and you're working all the time, like where do you dream
But
of
going,
going on vacation?
well, not for me, but I know most locals want to go to Vegas, right? Like they want to go
I guess
on,
okay.
you know, because I mean, really, for me, it's anywhere where I can just get in a car and go. Like I want to do a road trip. I actually just got back from Europe. I took a trip out there. You just want to go anywhere, just because after a while you just get island fever. Um, but for me, I'll always want to go to a city. I'm still a city girl. Even living here, like I had to go and move in the middle of the city, as you can tell by the sirens. And I'm surprised you can't hear the crazy people screaming, but I love it. I love being in the middle of the city and hearing the crazy people screaming and seeing, you know, all billion cars and I love the twinkling lights at night and feeling like I'm in New York or Miami. So to me, anytime I can go anywhere, I'm going to go to a big old city.
There you go. I love it. I love it. I anytime I go to Hawaii, I always got to spend some time in Honolulu, and
Mhm.
then sometimes somewhere anywhere else.
Yes, yeah, that makes sense. You know, if you're gonna come here, you gotta get the mountains and the beach and the quiet and of course, of course. I mean, that's what I wanted when I first came here. You know, uh, but I say, you know, when you're city, I'm a city. I can't not have noise. I need the noise, which is
There you
so
go.
bizarre because people think I'm crazy for liking the noise, but I do.
I don't think you're crazy. I live in Manchester. I have brick walls, so that's why you can't
Okay.
hear the sirens. But yeah, I live in the city, and I moved every 2 to 3 years as a kid. And you know, if you live in the country, it's eerie. It's kind of scary. You
It
know, just
is.
being out there in the woods with the crickets and
Yes.
these
Yes,
are the really.
I lived when my husband was going to grad school. We lived in Michigan for a couple of years. Oh my God, I never lived in snow. I never lived anywhere like that before. So when we lived in a lake house, and I remember at night thinking someone's going to pull up to this house, murder us in the middle of the night, and no one will know that we're gone because it was so isolated and so, you know, this is where like horror movies happen, and
Yep.
it was so quiet and it was just creepy to me. It was just a different, you know, looking back now, it's like, oh, it was kind of quaint and beautiful. But when I was there, I thought, no way, like this is too just country for me. Get me to a
I'm
city.
not. I'm the kind of person that like if I'm with a friend and we're in a cabin in the woods, I will go out of my way to like scare them and spook them and tell spooky stories.
Oh my
But
God.
I'm also the kind of person that would scare myself.
Yeah.
It's kind of a double-edged sword. Like just trying to scare my friend, I would inevitably get scared. I am
Yes.
not walking outside in the dark. Not a chance.
Oh, you know, I tell people I know every murder documentary you see starts the same way. It was a quiet, quaint town. Everyone left the doors open. I go, see, there you go. If you can leave your doors unlocked, you're gonna get killed. Like no one's gonna know that you got abducted in the middle of the night. Like I like
Nope.
to lock my doors. I like living in a building where I know who everybody is on my block. You know, I like it.
Like, hey, I didn't see the neighbor today. I wonder.
Yeah, exactly.
I
Where
should
did
go check. um, I want to show real quick with Skull and Crown before we get too far from Skull and Crown. They have a marketplace going on. Well, no, they have a pop up at the International Marketplace at the
Mhm.
Dawn the Beachcomber Treehouse, which is pretty cool. You did artwork for that. I think it's ongoing. Is it still ongoing?
I believe so. Mhm.
Yeah. So people, if you are in Oahu, go check out Skull and Crown. But then if
Yes.
you're in town at the right time, International Marketplace has a pop up right now. Don the Beachcomber Treehouse and Skull and Crown serving cocktails, which is one of the coolest things I've seen in tiki in the
And it's
past
a
few
nice
years.
way to honor the history of this particular treehouse, which people here don't even know the history. A lot of folks here don't realize how much of a history there is with this treehouse, and how the birth of tiki, like just all of it is there's just so much connection to this particular place. We're so happy it was saved when they just completely, redid all of the international marketplace, which really hurt my heart that it went away. But I'm so glad they were able to save this this piece of that history.
Yeah. We got to talk to Marie King earlier this month a little bit about Sunny Sun. Sunny Sun was Dawn's wife for a while. And Dawn, you guys go back, watch that episode. We are sponsored by Dawn the Beachcomber. But Sunny Sun was kind of like the business side. Dawn was a showman, but at the end of the day, he couldn't really sell himself that well. So Sunny Sun was the business side. And he ended up, I don't know if he sold it or got ousted or whatever from Dawn the Beachcomber in the United States. But at the time, the agreement was you can open restaurants. You just can't do it in the United States. And Hawaii wasn't a state at the time. So he went to Hawaii, started opening, his brand in Hawaii. And that is a lot of what we think of today when we think of Dawn the Beachcomber and cocktails and tiki and all that stuff. So that's kind of where it all started in some ways. It's really cool. Now you've been a part of that. You created
I
art.
know. It's so cool. Did you see the documentary?
The Dawn of Tiki?
Yes.
So I know they showed it at Tiki in Waikiki. They did a premiere. Did you have a chance to see the premiere?
Yes, it was amazing because they actually touched on that. And one of there are a few things, but the two things that stood out to me is, when I took my son, because I figured that we need to introduce you to this, the art form.
Get him started early.
Early. So I brought him thinking, oh, I wonder if he'll sit through this, if he'll even really care. He was just enthralled the entire time. He loved it all. It was so well made. It had these beautiful animations. The stories were well told. It was fun to watch. And then what really stood out to me is it talked about the women, like you just mentioned, Sunny, who were at the forefront that don't get talked about now. Like you don't hear about them. There's so many women.
Dawn all the time, and Sunny Sun's never mentioned. But there is no Dawn without Sunny.
Yeah, and I always thought before I watched this documentary, there have to have been more prominent women at the time because the stories are always told from the male point of view, which I appreciate. Nothing against that. I mean, the history is a history. I'm not here to dispute that. But I figured there have to have been women in the picture, right? Because women are always the inspiration for all the sexual, the beauty and all of these sensuality of it. I mean, women were there. So when I learned about them, why isn't there a movie about these women? Why isn't, I just wanted to learn more about them. So I thought that was really great, just being a woman and hearing that, they had a very important place in this history. I want to know more about them. So I love that. I think if everybody could check it out, it's amazing. Really well done.
It's not out yet, but when it does come out, guys, run, go support whatever theater you can. Mm-hmm. Hopefully it gets a wide showing, or maybe it'll go to streaming on one of the big streaming giants. I don't think anything official has been announced yet, but the Dawn of Tiki movie looks sick. You got to check it out and do some research on your own on Sunny Sun. Look into that.
She was a character for sure.
I do want to touch base really quick on some of the other tiki projects that you've done. Mm-hmm. Mama Hune's, that's one of my favorite bar. We got some artwork from Mama Hune's that we'll pull up. One of my absolute favorite drinking spots in Hawaii. It is not on Oahu. It's on the Garden Isle, Kauai, at the northern end of the island chain. What are some of your favorite drinking spots in Hawaii?
Here locally, there's the Mariana, which is kind of quintessential. Like that's the spot to go, especially if you're into tiki, and it's one of the really only places that really has that tiki history here. So that's kind of like a place we always go to. But for me, it's Skull and Crown. It has a special place in my heart because, of course, Mama Huna's, of course, but that's not, it's on Kauai, so it's not, I can't just go. Whereas,
You're not flying over there once a day.
yeah,
Gotta go to Mama Huna.
sometimes I'm like, I just want to go and have a drink there. That place is so cool. But locally, Skull and Crowns is like 2 blocks away from here. So I love that place. I love the authenticity of it. It's small. It's a different feel from La Mariana, which is, it's bigger. It's kind of a restaurant feel, really old school feel. Whereas Skull and Crown is just a little bit intimate. Actually, not a little bit, a lot intimate. It's just a different vibe, and it's dark, and you got that shipwreck meets tiki meets zombie. It's just so different.
I think there are like 2 categories of tiki, at least 2, where you have the modern tiki, which is like Skull and Crown, Trader Sam, Strongwater, Undertow. And then you have like the more vintage tiki, which I would put, Bali High, Kowloon in our neck of the woods, and La Marina Sailing Club. La Marina Sailing Club is so epic. They had, was it 3? I think 3 big tiki bars in the heyday of Oahu and Honolulu. And as those closed, unfortunately, La Marina had the foresight to buy that stuff and put it in the bar. So now it's essentially those 3 bars packed in together. And then you had Gecko, who is a super talented artist, come in there and do some crazy cool stuff in there as well. That place is just a museum of epic tiki.
And if you want to meet him, you go to Mariana. He's always hanging there. He's like,
there you go.
Filling
up the truck.
He's there. He's just, that's the place to go if you want to meet some really great artists and movers and shakers. Like that's where you go.
La Marina, and not in Hawaii, but another absolutely epic tiki bar is the Mai Kai. You got to do art for the Mai Kai. Mai Kai's coming back. We got to talk to Typhoon Tommy earlier this month about the renovations.
Yes.
Was the Mai Kai big deal when you were in
No,
Miami?
I actually had no clue. It was like this little, it seems like a certain, either you grew up going there and it was just a family secret, it wasn't, they didn't really advertise to anybody else. It really felt like it's generations, and when you go there, I don't know about now because I haven't been since they reopened, but when I was going there a few years ago, I felt like people were showing up with like their grandparents, it was very a family vibe. And so it was just, it's very cool. Definitely you get transported to another place in middle of Florida. You're somehow transported to Polynesia. It's beautiful. I'm so glad that it's coming back because I was worried that it would just disappear.
I think a lot of us were.
Yes, I'm so happy that, someone had the vision to save it.
That you're going to be doing like a phased opening where part of it's going to open and then the rest of it's going to open, but that should be they're aiming for 2024, I believe. But guys, if you want to see, we revealed concept art and all kinds of stuff when we talked to Typhoon Tommy earlier this month. So go check out the video on the Mai Kai. We are sponsored by Plantation Rum, and I usually don't show other rum on the show, but you did some really cool art for Strongwater, and I can't help myself. So with that said, I think we got to pull up the Strongwater Anaheim art. They did a rum with Hamilton. Hamilton's also great. How did this come about? This was recent, right?
Yeah, that was last year, maybe a year ago, a year and a half ago. Same thing, social media. It's like, hey, I like your stuff. Would you do something? And I'm always like, yeah, let's do it. So yeah, it was just kind of it just kind of came online. Okay, let's connect, let's do it. We worked together on this. Like they had their label already designed, and I just kind of designed around that. But it definitely was a collaborative effort because the owner is also an artist himself, so we were able to design this together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Strongwater, super cool bar just outside Disneyland, guys. If you ever go to Disneyland and you have some extra time, other than Trader Sam's and Shannon Tea Bar. You got to go to Strong Water to support them. They're doing epic stuff over there. I would love to see you design some art for Plantation. I don't know how to make that happen, but I think that would be insanely cool. And it
Oh my
fits
God, I'd love to.
their brand. They got all these cool tropical designs going on. So
Yeah, and you can get so creative when it comes to rum. Like there's just so much cool stuff you can do.
such a diverse spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Exotica Modern. You also did Exotica Modern. I got a copy of it right here. Guys, we got to give a shout out to Ken over at House of Taboo and Exotica Modern. This one has sold out, unfortunately, I believe, but it's still a great publication, and you can get the latest issue.
Actually,
okay.
I believe I don't know if it was this issue, but I believe my husband also he wrote a piece for this. Maybe it was the issue before or something, but I believe there was a bio, a write-up about her. So we both got to do some work on this, which is very cool.
Let's try and see if it was in here, right?
Yeah, I don't know if it was that one. Adam Reader. It might have been the issue before.
I don't see it, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's not in here.
It might have been the issue before or something. But yeah,
you guys are going to have to do a little eBay hunting.
I know.
Couple copies. I do want to talk about real quick. We start to wrap things up. Your 3D pop art collection. You do these really cool pieces, where you're adding that 3-dimensional element to your posters. How do people obtain these? Is it events only?
Yes, because it's hard for people to see. Even though I try to post the images and the videos, people, they have to see it in person to connect. And then when they do, they're like, "Oh, that's cool." They can really interact with it. So, and I haven't done a lot of in-person events lately, but definitely that's a fun one to do because I feel like my art was meant to be 3D. Whether it's actually want to do some sculptures next, but I feel like it needs to be in some sort of 3D form. But they're not.
Sculpture. When you talk about sculptures, would you do like hand sculpting or would you do like 3D?
Yeah, 3D. I think so. Yeah, no, I think I would want to do hand sculpting because I would want the face to be a very specific face, and I just want to get my hands dirty. So yeah, I would love to do that. I want to do more of these 3D ones. They're just not easy to make. They're very time consuming, and you're always hoping that everything stays upright and doesn't collapse. But it's I love making these. These were so cool.
They are epic. I've also loved. You've been posting some teasers lately on Instagram of some art that Instagram is 2-dimensional. It's a screen, but you've added. All of your art looks like it has movement, but the teasers you've been posting are actual art moving videos. I wish I had saved some of them, but I believe it's for an exciting project you got coming up.
Yes.
Paradise?
Yeah, so there's this, started this other Instagram account called Lady Paradise, I believe, yeah. And I've just been exploring with makeup illustrations, right? And this idea of if they were alive, if they were makeup, if they were people, what if I made these girls, what if I gave them their own Instagram account? And I wanted to keep it separate from my stuff so people wouldn't get confused. Like, hey, what are you doing now? So I just started this whole other Instagram account. It started with just exploring makeup looks on these illustrated women. But now I'm just so obsessed with these that I'm like, hey, I wear makeup. I love makeup. Girls love transformation, all of it. Like, what if I come up with a line of makeup, right? Like, what if I come up with like something special that's limited edition, that's sort of like art in itself. So I've been working on something for a couple years that I'm going to be releasing soon. But right now I'm just kind of showing these. Actually, right now it's one character. Her name is Jungle Queen. Actually, you asked me earlier if I ever have recurring characters. I said no, but I realized that's not true for.
This is the one.
Yeah, Lady Paradise is one, one girl, and eventually I'll have more characters. My idea is to have different characters that I feature, but right now we're featuring Jungle Queen, and she's just an artist. She's artistic. She takes inspiration from the nature around her, and she's just she's gonna have her own makeup palette coming up. So I'm gonna
It
be
does make sense to have a reoccurring character if you're trying to highlight, the makeup and the cosmetics. Because you
yeah.
want to see her in all the different, scenarios.
Yeah, so I've been trying to push myself. I'm always trying something different. Like I'm always trying to come up with new collections. So like 3D stuff, or there's another one I've done called Domestiki, which is more abstract. Like I'm always trying something and something new because I just need to mix it up. So right now I'm really just obsessed with this Jungle Queen stuff. I just this character that keeps popping up in my head, and I'm giving her different looks. And then I'm gonna have a product related to it coming up around Christmas time. But I'll be
Nice.
if you follow my Instagram, and you'll be able to see all the teasers that are coming soon.
You do love teasers.
Yeah,
All right.
you got to play the game if you're going to be on social media. You know,
Yep. You got to do it. It's all about the tease,
it is.
and because the algorithm doesn't necessarily show your one post to everything. You got to make multiple posts.
Yes. Well, and if it's art, I want art to be interesting to me. Like I'm always trying to create things that I would want to look at over and over. So that's sort of where that comes from too.
Mhm.
I feel like especially with all the AI stuff, like art's starting to look the same. And
Is that so? Are you concerned about AI?
I was 6 months ago. I was like, oh shoot, great, everyone can create this stuff, and but now I feel like there's a look to it that I feel most people are going to get sophisticated enough to really see it. And there's certain things about AI that are AI. So I think eventually people will.
Hands.
Oh, the hands, yes, the hands. It used to be the eyes, like the freaky eyes. I mean, it's impressive the things that it can do for sure. But I feel like people are going to get more sophisticated, and they'll want handcrafted art again. I think we're in a weird period. I think when we were entering that period, I think all artists were concerned. First of all, just for the intellectual property theft for our art, of course, that's a whole topic. But just that people will just feel like, oh, I can just run my photo through some app, and I don't need to hire an artist for this. So that's been a little worrisome. But I feel that people who are sophisticated enough and understand art and appreciate art will always come back and want something custom made.
I
And
think
they'll
I
get,
think it shows.
yeah,
I
and
like. I have a lot of art behind me, and I have it because I like it, but I also have it because I've met these artists and I want to support them.
yes,
And there's a story behind the art.
yes,
And
and that's what I love about the tiki community is that it's very much about meeting the artists, meeting the people, really connecting with them. It's very different from any other community I've ever been part of. I just love how supportive everyone is of each other's craft, of each other's talents. Even if you're not an artist and you're just someone who loves to attend these venues and events, like you're still very supportive of everyone you meet, and you just become a family. It's like nothing I've ever experienced.
yep, I got into tiki. Next thing I know, people are inviting you to stay at their home bar. It's like, really, you don't know me.
I know,
You're
and
just
they
gonna
mean
let me
it.
come to your home bar? It's like, yeah. You
Yeah,
like tiki, right? That's all I need to know.
and they mean it. And you're gonna have an amazing time.
Mhm. It is a great community. Okay, rapid fire questions. If you had to choose, first thing that comes to mind in the segment, if you had to choose, we'll throw some of these up here. If you had to choose
It's
between
good.
blockbusters and art house movies,
Uh, I'm gonna go with blockbusters.
blockbusters, the
Yeah.
candy.
So I'm not. I love movies, but actually, you know what? Tell, give me a good art house movie. Tell me maybe.
Wes Anderson.
Well,
Uh,
yeah, yeah. You know
Licorice
what?
Pizza is probably art
Oh,
house.
yeah.
Um, uh, yeah, anything.
I say
You
blockbuster.
could say almost anything, like think of it like Sundance and Oscars versus
Yeah.
blockbusters, superheroes and
Yeah,
pirates. And,
I'm coming at it from visibility, like as an artist, like visibility. I feel like with blockbusters, you have, this opportunity to really be part of
oh,
pop
yeah.
culture, right? So for me, it's like, oh, I would love. There's just more visibility, but yeah, I mean, of course, there's some movies that are just they couldn't be blockbusters. They're just so special. And
Yep. All right.
Pac-Man, or
Pac-Man or pinball?
pinball. Pac-Man gives me crazy anxiety.
That's
It
fair.
always has.
Constant daylight or total darkness?
Oh shoot! Oh my god, this is hard. I'm actually gonna go with darkness.
I figured you're a city girl.
Yes, I like a dark, twinkling city night.
That's when everything comes alive.
Hmm.
Here's another tough one: Disney art or pinup art?
This one's hard. Okay, I'm gonna say pinup art. Although Glenn Keane has the best Disney art, in my opinion. Like he's a god. But I have to go with pinup art because, I mean, you got sultry women, the essence of womanhood and femininity.
There you go.
That can't go wrong.
And then the last one I had, I think we already know the answer to this one, but we'll throw it up there anyways. Waikiki or North Shore, Oahu?
Waikiki, I love my North Shore people, but first of all, it's too hard to get over there. It's it's funny because I feel like it's the same as people who live in Manhattan. Like, oh, I'm not gonna go to the borough. It's kind of the way that we feel about the North Shore. Like, oh my God, I gotta get in the car and drive for an hour, and I ain't got that kind of time. It's beautiful there, but yes, I'm a city girl.
And you get stuck in traffic. Like you think of the city as being traffic. Holy smoke!
True. It's true.
All those people by the beaches. You hit it at the wrong time. It's gonna that 30-minute drive.
Everything shuts down so early, and I'm like, no, I need stuff to be open late.
There's that total darkness again.
Thank you, yes.
All right. So with that said, I think it's time we give away a mug. What do you think? This is get him to focus here. This is Poisoned Bob from Lost Temple Traders, and we're gonna give this mug away. Before we do it, though, I want to show a close-up look at the mug. So check it out, guys. This is Poison. And so the winner of this mug by Lost Temple Traders is, this one came from Instagram, at LuckyZombie84. Congratulations. You have won this mug. Of course, this is a mashup. It is the pop culture icon Tiki Bob, which comes from San Francisco, not Hawaii, meshed with the poison candy apple of Snow White. So congratulations, LuckyZombie84 on Instagram. Please send me an email at admin@searchfortiki.com within 14 days to claim your mug. That email is admin@searchfortiki.com. With that said, Kat, where is the best place for people to go to follow you and stay in touch with all the exciting stuff you got coming up?
Cat Reader Art on Instagram. I keep it simple. I have TikTok and all of that, but Instagram, it's where I'm always at.
Instagram, and, where is that?
Yeah, I keep it simple, And the other one is at lady.paradise.beauty for the makeup stuff. For all my makeup tiki ladies out there who want to send me looks or recreate my looks or just, send some love my way.
And then how can people purchase your art right now, today?
Sure. I have a website, just catreader.com. See, keep it simple. Catreader.com. I have an online shop there, and that's really the best way. And of course, if you're on island, just go to galleries here. But online is the best way. Just, and if there's anything you see that you've seen before online and it's not on my store, send me an email. I'll make it happen for you. There you go. Nice.
So you are available for commissions?
Yes, I'm always available.
Always available. There, you heard it there, guys. Kat is always available to do your commissions. If someone wants to do a family portrait, or perhaps maybe a little
family
portrait,
portrait,
something a little sultry or something a little
yes.
sweet. How do they contact you for that? Through the website or Instagram?
Just Cat at Cat Reader. Just email me. I mean, if Instagram is easier, that's fine. I respond to everybody. And yeah, if you want something with your family, with your kids, or you just want something sexy of yourself, we can create something together. And just make you feel beautiful and sexy. I mean, you are. It's everyone. You're all beautiful and sexy, but I'll make sure to really grab that essence and so you can show it out to the world.
And you can create that dream, right? If I want to be like, I want to be a professional surfer, even though I'm never going to touch a surfboard.
Exactly. You showed an image earlier, a commission of a man that I did with this scooter, and he was like, I want James Bond. I want that James Bond essence. So, I just give you whatever you see yourself. I'll make it. It'll still be you. It'll still look like you. It'll still have your personality, but I'm gonna make you look how you see yourself.
With James Bond.
Yeah,
you're gonna be James Bond, folks.
All right.
You want to be Bond. You want to be Daniel Craig.
Exactly.
Go to Cat.
Hey, who doesn't, right?
Who doesn't? With that said, one last mention of our sponsors, guys. We are sponsored by Plantation Rum. Maybe we can get Cat to do some art for Plantation. I think that's cool.
Coming.
Thank you to Plantation Rum for sponsoring 13 Nights of Tiki Frights and the Search for Tiki. We got to give a shout out to our friends over at Tiki Farm. Tiki Farm is the world's largest manufacturer of high-end tiki mugs. Holden Westland has been supportive of the Search for Tiki from day one. Super thankful to Holden. And then also Dawn the Beachcomber. We talked about Dawn the Beachcomber a couple times, but the official brand is coming back in a big way to Florida. They are opening multiple locations in Florida and beyond through a phased opening over multiple years. So thank you to Dawn the Beachcomber. We also have to give a shout out to the Menahune behind the scenes, Jason T. Smith. Jason T. Smith on the backside of all these videos has been helping with, the title screens, pulling up the comments and the photos, the videos, everything. So huge thank you to Jason for helping me out this year. It's been rough in the past years, and I'm super thankful to him. With that said, he is our upcoming guest on Sunday. We're going to talk to Jason. We're going to take the Menahune behind the scenes and bring him on camera. Oh my gosh, to talk about how to ship tiki mugs, because guys, it seems easy. Apparently it's not, because a lot of people ask me that question all the time on the searchfortiki.com. How do I ship tiki mugs? And you see posts on social media all the time of people not shipping them correctly, and you get a broken mug. Poor Poison Bob doesn't want to get broken in the mail. So we're going to talk to him about that. And I haven't done this yet, but we have, one final mug giveaway for 13 Nights of Tiki Frights. And so I figured I'd tease it on the video because it corresponds with our interview with Jason T. Smith. So we got this Den of Sin mug, which is Jason's mug from his home bar, Den of Sin, designed by Doug Horn. This is going to be our next giveaway. So tune in tomorrow. No, actually, it will be Saturday at some point. This giveaway will go live. And then on Sunday Fun Day, we're going to talk to Jason about how to ship tiki mugs. With that said, guys, Cat Reader, follow her on Instagram. Follow her cosmetic line that's coming up soon on Instagram as well. Go to her website, buy some art now, and then get a commission piece. Support Hawaii artists, Peruvian artists as much as you can. Thank you, Kat, for being on 13 Nights of Tiki Frights. It's been an absolute pleasure.
My pleasure. It's so nice to talk to you, really. I really enjoy this. Thank you so much for digging deep, and asking me some really good questions.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. And to all your viewers, too. Aloha.
Aloha. Mahalo.
Mahalo.
Thank you, Kat. We'll see you guys on Sunday.